introduction to interim management videos, I'm going to be looking more closely at what is involved in being an interim manager. So at the moment, if you're in full-time role, then your duty is to turn up, to do the work and to get the results, and everything else is handled for you. So pay and holidays and pensions and medical cover. And interim management's somewhat different. When you're looking at, when people look at becoming an interim manager, they tend to focus purely on the work that interim managers do, an interim manager does with clients. In other words, working on projects or filling gaps in employment within the client. But it is much more than that. You're not just going to be, for want of a better word, the product or the service. You are also the person who runs the interim management company. It's highly likely that you're going to be operating through a personal service company, in other words, a limited company. And you have all the duties that anybody running a limited company has. So you'll be familiar with those from the work you've done as an employee to date. But it does mean there is much more to it than just being a service to the client. So, like any limited company, think of yourself as a business rather than an individual looking for a role or for work. You are a business, and I would encourage you, when you consider this move, and certainly when you make the move, I would encourage you to think about yourself as a business, not an individual. Some people find it quite challenging, for example, to market themselves, but they find it much easier to market a business. So this helps in that sense as well. But if you look at the way this is structured, then we have Me Limited in the middle. So here we are, Me Limited. And Me Limited has to have some products or some services that the market wants. And in terms of interim management, that is, what problems are you really good at solving? Because that determines what it is that you offer. And clearly, the problems you're good at solving should be problems the market faces. So you're probably going to, again, like any other company, be bouncing back and forth between these two to work out what it is you need to be offering to the marketplace. Once you've worked that out, then you can start looking at, okay, how do I get my message out there? How do I get in front of them? Now, clearly, you're not going to be operating in a vacuum. You're going to be competing with people. You're going to be competing with other interim managers, clearly. You're going to be competing with consultants, because a lot of clients wouldn't be able to tell you the difference, and why should they? And you'll also be competing with employees within the client, existing employees. So what organization wouldn't, if it could, use its own people to solve the challenges that they have? Why would they go to an outside source if they didn't need to? You look like you're working on your own, and you know, when we set off to work for ourselves, we often say it's to work for ourselves, to work on our own. There's a lot to do, and sometimes you may want to bring on board people to help you. So one of the first things almost everybody does is get themselves an accountant. Why would you spend your time doing the accountancy stuff when really you should be out selling your services and delivering to the client to make some money? In the past, I've also used PR people if I wanted to break into a particular area and build a presence in that area. I've used freelance PR people. I've used virtual PAs, so it's quite easy to get a virtual PA and pay them just for the time you use. So think about the people that can help you, that can take away some of the work that you would be better spent on selling and delivering to clients. And then there's the real big bubble up here, which says what's going on in the world around us, and that's clearly incredibly important. And it's important from two aspects: not only you, but much more importantly, how does that affect your client? It's no surprise at all that there are the biggest user of interim management at the moment is financial services. And that's clearly because there's an awful lot of change being imposed on financial services companies. So they have to change, and they need people to help them make that change. So in summary, think of yourself as a business. You're not an individual looking for work. And as such, you have all the considerations that any other business has. I haven't touched particularly on financial management within the business. Clearly, that's going to be something for later on. But at the moment, think of yourself as a business and go out and market yourself as a business. It will become a much clearer. I think it sounds a bit like Ricky Gervais, but I would encourage you to work on the business at times as well as in the business. I hope that was useful, and thank you very much for your time.